Alright, hi guys, welcome back to OLLY'S Personal Development for another video. Today I want to introduce to you a new teacher at our school, or at least he's not absolutely new, but he's been at AIS since the last school year, which was like 2013 to 2014. Now we're in 2014 to 2015, and his name is Arthur Kidawa. And I want to introduce this guy to you because maybe as you know, I have been taking care of you for the last 8 years, all by myself. And I've had a really great time loving you guys and keeping you safe and keeping you, giving you advice and keeping you under control, if you know what I mean, so that bad things do not happen to you. Now, Arthur is a teacher who recently arrived, and he came last year, and he's become very popular over the last few months, okay, especially during the last semester, in the first semester of this year. Okay, he has started appearing in the library at Connemara campus, and he's been giving advice to students. He also talks a lot in his class about various things. And also maybe talks to a few students in the corridor. I really want to introduce this guy because, he's like I said, for a long time I've been doing taking care of you for all by myself all this time, right? And I've always wanted to have some other teachers who are involved in taking care of my students. I've often been disappointed by the attitude of other teachers over the years. When I ask them, please help me take care of the students, most teachers have been, oh, I can't be bothered, or I don't want to, or I'm too busy, or some other reason. I never really believed in that. I always thought that, you know, I mean, I'm busy too. I've got a wife and I've got a son, and I've got everything going on in my life as well. I don't actually have time to take care of you either, but I do anyway, because I love you, right? So because of that, I make time, even though I might not have that much. So I'm really happy that a new teacher has arrived who actually, you know, cares and pays attention to the students and wants to help them. Now Arthur, then he's from, I think he's American, right? And he's younger than me. I'm 43, or I will be this year. Right, he's 31, right, so he's younger than me. He's the same age I was when I got married, right? And he's got sort of like a goatee beard, and he's quite different to me. Like he looks obviously totally different, right? And he's also got a number of background details which are quite different to me. Me, I'm Roman Catholic. I belong to the Roman Catholic Church, and I have a whole bunch of I believe on all that, you know, Jesus and Mary and Joseph and all that stuff. And so I've got a really good understanding of Catholic theology and spiritual stuff like that. What I really like about Arthur is that he's also spiritual and quite into that kind of thing. But his background is not Catholic. He comes from a more sort of like alternative background. He believes in a range of different things, I think. But he's pretty spiritual. He does meditation and things like this. And he also he's really into. He seems to be really into love and peace and things like that, and he wants to help people, just like I am. So yeah, Arthur's been getting some really positive feedback from students. They seem to like him. Everything's going well. So now he has decided to start a YouTube channel. Okay, actually he started his channel for advice before I started mine. Although this actual channel has been around since some time because it was for my online business. So he's been giving advice to the students in the library, but I think he's got to a point now where he feels like there are lots of students who need his advice, but he can't get around to everywhere. And for me, I was the same when I started giving advice to the kids. I gave out some. I started out by just doing stuff in the class, Then eventually I decided I needed to make myself more available. So I used the big room downstairs on the ground floor with the big table and like the 10 chairs and all that. I stayed there and hoped that students would come. They didn't, so then I developed after that into a more of a, like a, you know, like a man who takes care of sheep for a farmer. He's called a shepherd, you know. So I did a shepherd kind of role, where I started going around around the campus, talking to people in the corridor, going up to students in class and like talking to them at their desk and asking about their problems and whatever. And then of course later I did Facebook and all this kind of stuff. Now, Arthur's really great, and I want to introduce him because some of you don't know him. Right? He has built up a following on Facebook, but because he's only been at AIS for like just a year, right? A lot of the older students who follow me on Facebook or who are friends with me, they don't know him. You know, maybe you are a student who changed school 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe you finished grade 12 last year or the year before or something like that, and so you don't remember this guy or you don't know him. Okay, so I want to introduce him to my students on Facebook who have left AIS for a long, long time and don't know who he is. Alright, so I would really like to introduce you to Mr. Arthur Kidawa. He's really been excellent in recent months, and I can recommend him. So what I want to tell you is that it is safe for you to listen to his advice. I can recommend it. He has done 2 videos on his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel is called KTube or TMS, which means To My Students. Okay, so you can, if you want, you can go to, I think the quickest way to get there would be to go to Facebook, write his name, Arthur Kidawa, in the search box, and then when you get that, on his normal Facebook, he has a link to K2, and you can see all his videos there. And he also has a Facebook group, which you can join, and you can get updates about his videos. However, there's a bit of a difference between me and Arthur in terms of experience and sort of like what level we're at in loving the students. I'm really happy that he loves my students. He's already said in his videos, I love you guys, blah, blah, blah. So that's really great. I'm really happy about that. However, give him a bit of time because he's not at the same level as I am, right? I've been taking care of you guys for 8 years, right? So that's a lot of time. Now, maybe you can remember a few of the things that I've done in the past, right? In the beginning, maybe I started out by talking to you in the classroom. Then I made myself available in my free time. Then I started talking to you in the corridor, maybe like that. And I went around helping people with this. Then after that, maybe you remember I did my newspaper and all that kind of stuff. And then I got my Facebook going on. And but as well as all of that, I have also done a number of things in the history of our school to help you guys and to save your butt, right, basically. There were, in the early days when I only taught you, when I only loved you perhaps a little bit, right, and I was building up slowly, I thought it would be okay to just give advice to you. I thought it would be okay just to sit in a place and wait for you to come to me. I also thought it would be okay just to sort of like be a bit passive and just be available to the students. If you need me, you can come and see me and I can give you advice. Excellent. But then after a while, I noticed that not every student was interested in coming to see me. So students who came, they were great, but there were a large number of students who never came. So now I decided that I would need to develop my skills in giving advice. So as well as studying teenagers at university level, I also started doing other things. However, I wasn't ready in the early days to make a really big commitment to you. But then something happened. Do you remember there was a teacher called Bob Roberson, and he turned out to be a bit of a pedophile who came to our school, and there was a situation developing where the manager at that time was supporting him, and other teachers who were trying to stop him from molesting the students were getting fired. Right? So what happened was a gang of teachers got together to try to stop Bob Roberson from molesting the students. Okay, but one by one, the manager fired us and not him. Right? So at that point, I was already saying bye, I love you at the end of every lesson, and I decided that I needed to make a decision about whether I loved you enough to make a serious commitment to you. Like, if this guy was going to be doing this, and I just ignore it and shut up, right, then of course that means that I don't really love my students. So I might as well stop telling you that I love you at the end of every lesson and just keep quiet and walk away. Or what I could do is I could keep on loving my students, right? But that means I have to do something. I can't just stay here doing nothing while this guy was doing that. So I did something. So I made the decision that if I love my students, I need to save them from this guy. So what I did was, I decided to write letters to the parents. But how could I do that when I didn't know your addresses? Well, guess what? In the front page of every school record, there's your address. So I secretly went upstairs to the 6th floor, or went into the ground floor office, and went into the room next door, the empty room next door to the reception of the ground floor, and I wrote out on pieces of paper all the addresses of all 937 students who were at our campus at that time. This was in 2009. Now, at that point, after I finished writing those addresses, I took them and I wrote a letter to the parents in English. Then I spent a week translating the whole thing into Vietnamese. Then I had to spend a lot of time putting all the squiggly bits on top of the Vietnamese words so that people could understand what I was writing. Then after that, I printed it out. I made 937 copies of that paper. Then I folded each paper. I bought 937 envelopes. Then I stuffed one letter in every single one of those envelopes. Then I had to seal them off. Then I got the post office to put 937 stamps. And I sent them out to them. Well, of course, that stopped. I told your parents, take it to school, but don't tell them who it was. I did not sign my name at the end of the letter. Those of you who are old enough to remember those days, it was the 2008-2009 school year. I will remember getting a strange letter during the summertime. It was me, right? Just in case you didn't know who it was me. And a lot of students attacked from the school, and it created a situation where Bob Roberson was not able to return for the 2009-2010 school year, so he was removed. So that was the first thing I did to save students. After that, there was a teacher who decided to start stepping on students' toes, and getting really close up to them and being rather threatening. I received 500 complaints about that teacher in one month. So I talked to the manager. He didn't do anything, so I had to step in and sort it out myself. So I did that. After that, there was another teacher, who was getting a bit physical with the students, pushing them around, and shoving them out the classroom door. They complained to me. I complained to the manager. The manager didn't do anything, so I stepped in. And I stopped that. So, and since then, and of course, as well as doing all this, I always stick up for you in front of other teachers if they complain about you. If I get criticism of my students by other teachers, I try to stick up for you as much as I can. And I've been doing this for a long time. Now, so I feel like I have proved to you that I love you because I've made some very, very serious and important sacrifices for you. Over the 8 years I've loved you. Now Arthur, he's a great guy and he's doing really good. He's doing really well and his advice looks really nice, I like it. But I want to make it clear to you that maybe he's not yet ready to make that kind of major, huge commitment that I have already made. Right now, I think he loves the students, but I think at the moment he's at the beginning stage where I was 8 years ago, where he's started getting an interest in the students. He does love them. He wants to take care of them, and right now he's hoping that just making himself available as a advice giver, if you like, in the library at break time, and doing his YouTube channel will be enough to help all the students. By my own experience, I know that in the end it's not going to be like that. At some point in his advice giving career, he is going to have to eventually come around to the idea that in order to help all the students, it's not going to work to expect the students to come to see him. In the end, he's going to have to go and see them. Right? The same thing I did. And indeed, there may be a situation like I had where, for instance, something dangerous happens to the students, and then he's forced to, if he loves the students, and he's forced to make some sort of action. But right now, do not expect him to do that. Okay? If you want that kind of thing, I'm still the guy. All right? But let Arthur work it out for himself. Okay? Give him some space. Don't crowd the guy and give him a bunch of pressure. All right? Just let him do his advice on Facebook, his advice on YouTube, and his advice in the library, and let him do his, if you like, passive stuff. You know, just sort of making himself available, and you come to see him. Eventually, he may come around to the idea that he might want to make a bigger commitment and start doing other things. But for the time being, let him just do what he's doing, and don't expect him to make the serious sort of like heavy commitment that I have already made. All right. So Arthur is great. I'm really happy to have him as the second teacher to care and love for my students. And it's really great to have him because it's been fairly tough doing it all by myself for the last 8 years, and I'm really happy to have somebody else who's interested in you guys and thinks that you're great. So thanks again. So this video is just to introduce Arthur Kidawa. You can find him on Facebook. His name is Arthur, A-R-T-H-U-R, Kidawa, K-I-D-A-W-A. Find him on Facebook and join his YouTube channel. And now you have two excellent teachers who are going to love and care for you. So I hope that you will end up loving him as much as you love him, and as much as I love you. Thanks very much again for watching, and have a great day.